Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, I'm Charlie, I'm a designer, and today I want to talk to you about a tweet. Hear me out. The tweet is from Brian Norgard, and he says, one of the hardest things for a young designer or product manager to do is show off unfinished work. Learn how to do this and it will quickly become an invaluable part of your growth process. Let's talk about unfinished work today. I'll start by saying that I definitely agree with Brian on this, that learning how to get comfortable sharing your unfinished work is super useful for growing as a designer. Not only will it help you get feedback early and often from other designers, and it'll help you grow your skills and improve your process, but it can also help stop you going down the wrong path. Getting feedback can help you course correct quickly before you waste too much time. However, I know how scary it can be to share work in an unfinished state, especially when you're just getting started in the design industry. You don't have that much confidence in your skills yet, perhaps you're feeling a bit of imposter syndrome, and you're embarrassed to share work that's unfinished because you don't want your superiors and your team to think that this is your best work. You don't want them to think that this is all you can do. You want to prove yourself still and show that you're talented. And because of that, it's really hard to feel comfortable sharing work that you know isn't good enough and isn't to your standards. But it's a really good practice for you to get into and get into that habit of getting feedback. So I want to give you some advice for how to share unfinished work and how to ease yourself into this process. So firstly, I think you should start by just choosing one person to share your unfinished work with. Once you see their reaction and you have a conversation with them about your work, you'll see that it's not so scary, that they didn't judge you or they weren't horrified by your lack of perfect pixels. So pick someone on your team that you trust and have a good relationship with already and talk to them about something that you're working on. Show them your work in all of its unfinished glory. Once you do that a couple of times, you'll start to feel more comfortable with the idea of sharing it in a group setting or maybe in amongst your whole team. And because I want it to go really well for you when you do pluck up the courage to share your unfinished work, here are a couple of tips for how to share work and ask for feedback. Firstly, I think you should be selective with which designs you share, and that means choosing your best ideas to put forward. Maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3, but hopefully not more than that. If you're anything like me, when you're designing you end up with 1,000,001 artboards with like small iterations between the two because you tried something, then you had an idea for a small tweak on it. It's not a good idea to share all of these because then people get caught up kind of playing spot the difference between them, trying to figure out exactly what is different between these two very similar, subtly different designs. That's not a good use of anyone's time. So be selective and do the refining process yourself to pick a couple to share. This is another reason why it's great to ask for feedback early, is because it forces you to evaluate your designs in this way. And that's not to say that you then delete all of the designs that you didn't choose. They stay there in your working file. And people are going to have questions, they're going to have feedback on the designs that you share, and some of the things that you've tried in other designs might be able to help answer those. Like if someone asks if you've tried it centered, you can show them that yes you did, and you decided that it wasn't as good as this option that you've shared. Secondly, when you share your work, you absolutely need to give context behind it. Don't just drop the link and run. You should explain briefly the problem that you're trying to solve with this design and also tell people where you are in the design process too. So for example, tell them that you've just entered the visual design phase and all of the imagery and the copy is placeholder at the moment, but you'd really like their thoughts on the overall look and feel of the piece that you've got going so far. Or perhaps if you're sharing a wireframe, you should let them know that you're looking for feedback on the structure of the page and the content blocks that you've allowed for, and ask if there's anything that they think is missing. And when I'm sharing work in this stage as well, I always like to point out that I wireframe with grey boxes, and so don't worry, the final design will not be all grey. Giving this context not only means that the person is warned that the work isn't finished, so when they click on it they're not expecting to see a pixel perfect finished design, but also when you've given the context, you've told them exactly what you're looking for feedback on, so what they should be paying attention to. It's really easy to just open up a design and say, yep, this looks good, and not think deeper about how it's working or like, you know, the specific little details. So asking them questions is going to encourage that, and it takes the focus away from how polished the thing looks as well, because you've asked specifically for feedback on these certain things. So if you do those two things when you share your work, you're definitely going to get value from the experience, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable at first. Sharing your unfinished work with your fellow designers especially can be great because you'll not only get tips for improving this design that you're working on, but maybe your whole design process. Things like how you're sharing files, how you're storing your files, how you're arranging your artboards, you know, doing this certain action for this thing that you're working on. My design process has definitely been like improved and shaped over the years from my fellow designers by talking to them about the work as I was doing it. So all in all, sharing your unfinished work It's probably going to be scary at first. You're probably going to feel a little bit uncomfortable and unconfident, but I promise you it's going to be worth it. So I want to set you a mission today. Your mission today, should you choose to accept it, is to show something you're working on to a coworker, to a fellow student, show them where you're up to in the process and get some feedback from them. Have a conversation about your work and just break this ice of sharing unfinished work. All right? Do you think you can handle that? Okay. Then I want you to come back here and let me know how it goes down below in the comments, because yeah, I'm keen to see if these tips help you out and what you learned from this experience of sharing. Thank you for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you are new, then please hit subscribe because I make new videos about design every single week and I would love to have you back here for the next one. All right. Have a good day, happy unfinished work sharing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.